Thank you very much, Madam Chairman, and I want to thank you and Ranking Member Inhofe for today's hearing and my colleagues who have stated so eloquently what happened in New York and New Jersey. Connecticut really shared their fate, although the national media coverage may give the impression that Connecticut's damage was more a footnote to the main story. In fact, the destruction and damage in Connecticut was every bit as real, and the pockets of destruction as pervasive as elsewhere. And I think many of the lessons learned that you've heard here form a pattern that we need to invest now or pay later, that there are measures we can take now to minimize the damage in the future, and we cannot be penny wise and pound foolish. The sweep and depth of destruction and human impact and financial effect was simply staggering, and our response now has to match its historic magnitude. We need to think big and act big with urgency and vision. We've built our infrastructure to 100-year storm levels. Unfortunately, the 100-year storm seems to be happening about every year. And we have to be prepared for this new normal by hardening critical infrastructure and taking the time and spending the money to conduct the infrastructure assessment that Senator Schumer spoke about doing. This kind of study and streamlined approach is absolutely what needs to be done. And as we continue to fund infrastructure improvements, the federal government should consider how such improvements may mitigate future water-related damage and future taxpayer costs for restoration. But finally, let me just say, Stamford offers an example of what I think you've heard from a number of my colleagues about the use of hurricane barriers. In Stamford, a 17-foot barrier which blocked an 11-foot storm surge from Sandy was built in 1969 and helped prevent about $25 million in damage to businesses and homes during Sandy. Stamford is waiting for federal funding of less than $1 million to replace the barrier's pumps that had to be operated manually during the storm. An investment of less than $1 million would ensure a saving of $25 million in avoided recovery costs. And review and responsibility begins with the Army Corps of Engineers, but Congress can help support and move forward this vital work.